Let me say a special good morning to our listeners. Those of you listening, Classic Radio 105.5 and 105.9. Good Monday morning. Those of you who are viewing us this morning via GBN TV and those of you via social media platforms, good morning. Welcome to another edition of To The Point for today, Monday. And back with me this morning, we have Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. And a little hiatus, if I could say it like that. Yeah, we had a little time off. A little time off.
And it was not on my doing.
Suddenly, I think the listeners and viewers do understand that. It wasn't on your doing. You know, we had the budget.
Yes.
The budget, then we had the budget debate popping back in. So that took care of 2 of the Mondays that we should have been here.
And prior to that,
we had some programming switch. But you were here on the 24th.
Yeah.
That was a Friday.
Right.
24th of November.
Right.
Yeah, we were here on the 24th of November. So you got to fill in on because I had someone else had to substitute for the Monday.
Correct.
All right. So nice to have you back, sir.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Very nice to be back.
Yeah. Well, this is going to teaming up to be, as we counted on, just around a couple more days before Christmas 2023. Yeah?
Yes.
Yep. And, the reason for we doing our program like this for the last couple of months within this year, was to sensitize individuals on safety.
Correct.
And, the importance of being safe on all levels.
Yes.
And to mitigate, the risks that may occur from time to time, whether you drive along the nation's road, you're walking along the nation's road,
right.
There's risk that can occur at your home, risk that of course that you may have to mitigate and look forward to, and not only look forward to, but the risk that may happen in just being in your house and so forth. And I'm certainly sure from the feedback that we have gotten thus far for the last couple of months, individuals were happy for a program of this nature.
Absolutely.
There are individuals who I have met and spoken to have said they have certainly learned a whole lot. Things they took for granted in terms of what could be done to save lives.
Right.
A lot of folks may have said, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Something I maybe always actually that. Folks may see that accidents happen, and for some reason they'll feel, folks will always say, don't touch the person.
That's correct, yeah.
It's not always that we're telling you to touch the person, but sometimes the simple things that you could have done in terms of what we have said here could save that person's life.
Yes.
Or not extend the injury further by you offering some form of assistance.
Right. Right. So great.
So I've learned a lot too.
Yes, well, you expressed it every time we've had a program. You said, "Man, this I'm learning about," which is we never stop learning. Actually,
no.
And just like you said, I even figured out some things when I did a dog and did my research. There are other things I will be becoming better at.
Exactly.
Getting more knowledge.
There's always a reason for improving.
That's correct. So AIM always improving myself, and then the other end, you're always trying to improve others, which is critical. So like we usually do, we kick off. We would want to thank our listeners or followers or viewers to this program. Over the past 2 years, we've been on this, and can you imagine? So it's 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, man, of course.
Because we started actually in 2022.
Yeah.
Time flies.
2021, I think, coming up to the end. Yeah.
Yeah, we started the latter part of 2021. To be correct about that, sometime around October of 2021.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've done 2 years, because I remember last year concluding this program. I was in the United States.
Yes.
And I was doing a lot of it virtually. And then I got back here in January, and we continued.
Yes.
It has been sort of a turbulent for us over that period, but I can say it has been a very rewarding period. And what is really more refreshing and rewarding is when people meet you and say thank you.
Yeah.
I was at the Anglican High School graduation on the 6th of December, and there I met some former teachers, some past students, and they were saying we follow your program, and they were also saying the same thing. We learned so much, and thank you very much. And there have been some callers who have been expressing really a lot of gratitude for the program. There was a lady who called the last program I was on the Friday when I announced the initiative for us to give Grenada a gift in December. And we're going to speak about that later.
Yes.
And she called back to say, Mr. McIntyre, I followed your program very well. She said, I'm also willing to assist in that initiative. And then she spoke about one of the issues on the Morris Bishop Highway with some trucks, infringing on the shoulder and all that, and some of the safety issues. And so people raise them and they meet you. And I've been having contributions from people saying, I want you to mention this on the program.
Right.
Because people are now seeing this program as an avenue, if they don't get to speak on the GBN or on the media place somewhere, but they do have a voice.
Yes.
And I think that is what or one of our missions really is all about. Being that advocate and being that voice and a platform where we can disseminate safety information. And as I was speaking about the year under review, you understand how difficult that was. And yesterday, I celebrated my birthday.
All right. Happy belated, sir.
Yeah, man. I came into the world the 17th of December.
Yeah.
In the early 1960s.
Yeah.
Right.
As a Calypsonian said, Santa Claus may be your dad.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to question my mom on that. So yeah, and it's really not the best time of the year to have a birthday. It's nice.
Yes.
December people are really the best people on earth, subject to approval anywhere else.
I beg to differ, but
Right, and they also said, and somebody told me last night, they said, because Jesus Christ was also born in December, again, that is sometimes debatable. But if Jesus Christ is known to be a good man, and it is believed to be December, we all nice, good people, right? Great. So
along those lines, I will agree.
Yes. So as we came through, and then I had this very unfortunate situation, as people were calling yesterday and saying, happy birthday to you and all of that, and I said, thank you, but this has been the worst year of my life that I went through. But God has given me the tenacity, the fortitude and everything to come through, and has given me a new inspiration to be able to help people.
Yes.
So when people ask again, out of your situation, Mr. Mac, how are you coping? How are you dealing with the situation? And I said, I still maintain that I've been tempted to question God as to why this happened, but I kind of hold it down and ask, what in this do you want me to get? And do you want Grenada to get? And it continue to come back to be service, safety issues, and all of that. And I continue. And this is why the Asher McIntyre Road Safety Foundation was born. So every time I feel this urge to want to go on to share. And every time I think of the sad moment and the tragic incidents, I look on the brighter side.
There's always a saying that with negativity, there's always a positive outcome.
Yes,
from
absolutely.
There's always something positive that in return.
Yes. So as we looked, we scanned the week past, the months past, and so forth. I listened as well to the RGPF, and I'm always in touch with them in terms of the road safety issues. And we always will want to know how better we can do it for Grenada. And I was happy to hear the officer in charge of the traffic department, I think Mr. Batiste.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Enough respect. He was saying that there is a decline in road accidents in general in 2020.
We're happy to hear that.
We are absolutely
happy to hear that.
And while we cannot mark what we do in terms of the information and what we contribute towards road safety, it may also be good to attribute the information that we share. Our presence reminding people of road safety could be contributing to the reduction in accidents, could be contributing to safety on our roads in general, and that's the ultimate objective. That's where we want to go. We want to really make Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Matnik have transports too. So we want to make the Tri-Island State a very safer place. And what I'm keeping close to my chest, and we're going to be speaking about that because we don't want this festive season to end up where we have all of these emergencies and people can't deal with it.
Yes.
But because the Morris Bishop Highway, that strip of road where we've had maybe the most fatalities in terms of vehicular accident, single. We've had places where buses and other things and more. But in terms of people just getting hit and knocked down, we've had quite a number of people who've not ended up being fatal a lot of times. But there are persons who got struck by vehicles as they walk or they jog along that road. A gentleman was expressing to me that I wasn't even aware of, that he was walking along the road one morning and a vehicle struck him on his hand. Really terrible. And he didn't realize how bad it was, and the vehicle drove, and he had to go into inquiry, and it cost him so much, to get that process. And a number of persons who speak about after that accident that resulted in the loss of life of my son, they said they still have that fear of jogging on our streets and walking. And this is what we're trying to alleviate. We're trying to, rebuild the confidence in people that it is okay to enjoy Grenada, to be able to jog, and to be able to enjoy the natural environment and to be safe at the same time. And this is why we spoke about ensuring that sidewalks are properly created on either sides of the road, and in particular we kind of are keeping our eyes on the Morris Bishop Highway. We want to do that. And there was an unofficial release, I think, by the minister from MIT speaking of a plan to have these bypass pass over
and so forth.
From one side to the next.
I didn't hold that conversation.
I would want us again, like the foundation, to be able to engage them, and we're going to follow that process because we have been advocating that, GT.
Yes, and give ideas. There's a saying, Mr. Mac, that our roads are not designed for what we use them for.
That's correct.
A lot of roads and what we use them for, they are not designed for that. Especially we jog on them, we walk on them, and our roads are not designed for it.
Yes,
you understand. So anything that could be done to make life easier for road users in general, especially the pedestrian part of it, certainly will be welcomed.
And I'm really happy too that I was speaking to a police officer on Friday evening, and the discussion surrounded people having businesses and residents in particular areas where, as is the norm, if you live in an area, you build a house there, your bus should drop you in your gap. And you should park your vehicle in your gap, even if you infringe on the road. If you have a business as well, you're going to build a business, you're going to open up and say, I want to eat a food, but no consideration for parking. So the physical plan is very clear on that if you are going to have a business, you're going to have to justify the parking space that would complement the kind of a business that you're doing. And if you live in a particular area, you're going to need to prove, if you're going to be building, that you are going to create parking outside of the public access for pedestrians, etc. And that is remarkable. The other thing that we're hoping that we can see, and I'm hoping that they get there soon, that designated parking in certain places at certain times of the day. So
that will be so welcome.
You're welcome. People can park at a certain time on certain days, and other times and other days you should not. And there will be limit to those parkings, and the signs will be up. When there is street cleaning, when there is busier time, okay, parking within those hours, and other time you cannot. We need to be able to get to that. And the final thing, like the week before, and I think I mentioned that, I was also having a discussion on policing Grenada. It is not, and traffic issues in Grenada, it is not just in the cities. It is also in our rural communities, and it is also in the places where people think that is neglected. And in terms of general road safety and people not having the ability to effectively control the vehicle that they're entrusted with, that could become a missile, could become a weapon of mass destruction. We want to ensure that their ability to maneuver and control that is not compromised by what they consume. And the consumption of alcoholic beverages and the use of narcotic or psychotropic substances that impairs people's vision and their ability to keep a vehicle on the road. We need to see our instruments of control be more effective. We need to see more enforcement in that. If there's a business place that should open to sell alcoholic beverage within a certain time, whether it is country or town, it should be enforced.
Back then that was something.
That was a big thing. People were afraid of police.
Yeah, I mean, back
then, saying, the police they'll close you down.
After 9 p.m. you should not be, your business place would not be open anymore, or you should not be selling alcohol. That used to be back in the late 80s, early 90s. That used to be a big thing, but then that has just fade away for a wee bit.
We'd wish to see that happening a bit more. And the law is still there that caters for. There was some adjustments to some of the opening period for.
Folks may look at it as being primitive, eh?
Yeah,
folks may look at it as being primitive.
But no, I think what has worked for us in the past, let us be unique and let us be different in some way that is working for us, that is safe. If that is something that is working for us, I mean, we have to move with the times, and that's why the law has been adjusted. They are allowed more flexibility in terms of opening hours for some businesses. But still, that's flexibility that was given an adjustment. It is really not enforced and maintained. And people opening all hours, the music is beyond a certain level, selling of alcoholic beverages for a certain people in certain places and certain time, that is insufficiently enforced.
Another thing you mentioned in the driver, what is the idea of reassessment after a period of time? What do you think about that?
That is another discussion that we were having. Even people who've gotten to a particular age, your ability to be sort of a 100% cognitive, it is diminishing with age, obviously, and that has to be understood.
I know that the traffic situation in Grenada has changed.
Yeah, and even the traffic situation. So I think there has to be two things. People need to be re-examined for one, the medical conditions after a while, and your ability to maneuver a vehicle on the road. I mean, that should go to the rigors of having to do that. And the other thing that we need to move to is to ensure that there is grading of the inspection process in terms of safety of vehicles on road. So somebody who is doing a commuter bus or otherwise, you're running more often, the vehicle will require more maintenance, more rigorous maintenance, change of the oil. That's somebody who just moved the vehicle, and once in a while, imagine you have a retiree who comes and that person drives the vehicle just a couple of times and so forth. They do the inspection once per year and everything else. But there's a gentleman who has his vehicle and he's ponging the road up, beating that vehicle up, back and forth. Obviously, it will depreciate and all of that.
Deterioration will be even more on that particular vehicle.
That's correct. So at least twice per year, vehicles in particular categories, vehicles that carry particular tonnage or whatever it is, or how you call it, capacities for weight and all that, they should also be assessed at particular time for road safety. So we're hoping that our enforcement policies and will look into that more rigorous as Grenada evolve, and so we could create greater safety on our roads in general. And these are some of the things that we will advocate for, we will push for, we'll work through to ensure that the legal apparatus are being looked into and put in place so that safety could be a bit more guaranteed.
All right. I mean, so these ideas are wonderful ideas, and certainly we get them implemented, I think it could make our roads a whole lot safer for us.
Yes.
We due for a break. Let's take our first break and we come right back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point for today, Monday.
With a vacation, boy.
This Christmas, Digicel is here to make your Christmas wishes come true. With our Wishmas promotion, giving you more of what you want and what truly matters to you. So, what are you wishing for?
I want real money.
A PS5.
So what are you waiting for? Switch, activate, pay your bill, sign up, and share your wishes with us at digicelgrenada.com.
Santa, all I want for Christmas is a brand new iPhone.
Our holiday elves are working tirelessly to bring your wishes to life.
Could do that new kitchen now, boy.
Make this Christmas truly unforgettable with Digicel. Win weekly shopping sprees as we sprinkle more joy and happiness in your life. Merry Christmas from Digicel, where wishes come true.
For a limited time, the NLA has dropped all of the 2X balls from the multi-X draw. This means that you, our valuable players, have greater chances of multiplying your winnings up to 5 times more in our 2X drop promotion.
Yay!
And that's not all. As an additional bonus, there will be fewer free play or FP balls to draw from too. Now you have more reasons to add multi-X to your playway bets. So, value your dreams, win your way, and multiply your winnings up to 5 times more in the NLA's 2X Dropped promotion. This promotion is extended to Saturday, December 30th, 2023. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point for today, Monday, the 18th of December, 2023. With me this morning, Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. Mr. McIntyre, we welcome back once again. We into this time of the year, the seasonal part of the year, Christmas. Folks may be on the roads, more often than regular for various reasons, whether it's for shopping or for whatever activity they may be attending. And, the issue of safety on the road is something that we have to show some consideration to, or give some attention to.
Yes,
I should
of course.
say. If you could show some tips out there this morning in terms of how treating certain emergencies, especially that can occur around this time of the year.
Yes, man.
Yes. It is important for folks who may always need a little refresher.
Yes.
Need a little refresher. These are the do's and don'ts that are on the roads now. Not at the particular time I may be driving later on at night. Mm-hmm. Even though the things I may need to pay more attention to as I drive along.
Yeah.
Individuals moving the road. How folks do around Christmas time.
Yeah.
So maybe we could listen up some safety tips from you this morning.
Yeah, sure. So we would want to do a reminder. Yes. And if we reach one person different today or new, because there are some people who are home, some teachers, some students who might be of age or so, and there would be somebody who may take the information. If we reach one person with the information that we are revising, it's good. Don't tell us, those of you who heard it before, that is one thing we keep saying over and over. You may know that. Somebody else did.
Multiple times will sink in once.
I will sink in. Great. So we will touch a little on some of the things that are likely to cause some safety issues or infringe on it. But the angle I would really wanna delve into is how we respond to those situations when they do occur. So it's like we've been doing on these programs, GT, and I think that's why I say this program is really unique. We don't just tell you what the issues are, but we look for the solutions as to how you can address them. So while yes, the mechanics will speak about the vehicles and what you should check, what you should ensure that you look at in your vehicles and so forth, the other issue, when something happened that you did not prepare for, how you respond to it make a lot of difference. So road users, persons who are commuting, whether you're just going to be a pedestrian somewhere or you're going to take a transport from point A to Z. It is a heightened period of commercial activities, and obviously, particularly in the south of the island, we've seen a few other businesses opened up. We're seeing, because we've also had the introduction of the traffic lights, we've had a few more thousand vehicles coming into the island for 2023. And so this has lent itself to more vehicles on the road, obviously, and traffic congestions in some areas. Where you have a build-up of traffic, where you have more vehicles that are on streets, and where you have festive seasons, obviously the risk becomes greater. It means, therefore, that vehicle owners and road users and drivers, you need your inspection process of that vehicle to be more consistent, and a vehicle must be checked every day before going onto the roads. Ensure that you check your fuels, your brake fluid. It's one of those that can happen overnight, and if you understand, it's just a few ounces of fluid that keeps that brake system running. Ensure that it is at a point where it is sufficient to keep the braking system together. And if you recognize that the levels of your brake is going down, it may have a leak, one, or your brake may have been eaten down rapidly. In some cases, some people's brake pads and so it drop off. Yes. And you would not know that sometime immediately, except there is some feeling on the rotor that sometimes comes on with a screech. There are some vehicles that are equipped with some sensors on the brake pad themselves. Some drivers break them off, some people take them off, but they're there for a reason. It gives you an indication that your brake is becoming critical when that screech comes on. So it doesn't mean that your brake is totally off. It's just like your indicator for your gas. When that yellow light comes on, it tells you that you have some fuel that you need to get to the next fuel station. It doesn't mean that you're totally empty. So these little tips and so forth, you need to understand that if your brake fluid, when you open it, it is running low. It may have a leak, or your brake itself, it is going lower. So you need to be able to check on that brake, because it may get to the point where it becomes critical and it cannot hold. The other factor that you want to ensure, particularly when you are going to be moving at night, your windscreen and the wiper blades. We are, again, climate change, they speak about it, you get rain at times that you didn't prepare for. Coming through the Grande Tang the last couple of days, the mist factor is heavy, and so visibility becomes less and less. Your wiper blades must be at a point where they can clean your windscreen. It is also good to drop a little bit of we call that dishwashing, what you call it, bleach. You can drop a little bit of that in the water that you use for throwing on the screen, and put a little bit of dishwashing liquid in that as well. So it helps clean the windscreen better than normal, just normal water. And if you wash your windscreen with water that is used through the normal Nawasa system, if you don't dry it properly, it leaves white mark on your vehicle and on your screen. It's more difficult to come out. So if you put a little bit of bleach and a little bit of dishwashing liquid, it cleans the screen much better. And that is particularly important for if you're driving at night when visibility is likely to be low. You want to be able to, when you use the blades are proper, that they're not leaving streaks along your windscreen as you go through. So wiper blades, you must check them regularly and ensure that you can clean so that you will be safer by having your windscreen cleared. Your lighting system, they are also very critical. You must check the dim and the bright sections of it. There are sometimes these bulbs will go unexpected. You just drove a while ago and then the police stopped and said, you saw your lights, and you're like, oops, they're out. So it's always good to check them to ensure that the dim and the bright, they are able to work and when to use them. It is sometimes workable that if you have the fog lights, what you call fog lights, they are best used with poor visibility when you have heavy mist. If you use your bright light sometimes, it sometimes mars your vision a bit more. So somebody either uses the fog light or somebody put on the dim. One of them may work depending on the condition. So what people need to do is to flick the lights on and off, the bright and the dim, and see which one gives you the better visibility. Don't just keep it on dim or don't just keep it on full bright, especially if you have oncoming vehicle. That will impair your ability to stay on the path that you're supposed to be driving on. And in general, we mentioned persons, we just touched about a little about the vehicle and the braking system and on the screen, which are some critical than the lights. Yeah. But the individuals driving those vehicles are wrong this time. Yes. There are parties, staff parties, there are other things that are happening around this time of the year. There are people who behave different around this time of the year as well. They consume more, and that generates a kind of spirit within them, and it is like the stupid time. People say that. Carnival season, Christmas, when the festive time comes, people behave foolish in those kinds of ways. And so, drivers, you are the ones that need to be in control of the condition. You are the one that's going to be driving and ensure that if you are consuming something that's not going to, affect your ability to drive. If that's going to be the condition, it is generally said, designate somebody to be able to do that. And if you think that you're not in a position to control the vehicle, stay away from it. It is also important as one of the elements of defensive driving. If at time you feel a bit sleepy because of overexhaustion during the course of the day, do not force yourself and say, I'm trying to get home as quickly as possible. It only takes a split second and you'll be off the road and somebody can lose their life. Yeah. Pull across the side of the road, wind your glass up, leave a little space in it, take a 5-minute quick nap, refresh yourself, wash your eyes and face with water and so forth, and proceed and continue. Do not try to get to the next point as quickly as possible. That may be the last point you get to, and you may not even get to that point. So do not force yourself when your body is telling you that you're feeling drowsy, you're feeling droopy and so on. It makes good sense to extend your life by taking some additional time and resting before going on. So the individuals themselves must prepare when you are going to be on the road, psychologically or otherwise. Avoid the rush, avoid the haste, plan ahead of time. If people are going to be traveling along with you, call them ahead of time and say, I am coming to pick you up, please be ready. Yes. And when they are not ready and they come, then they throw your temper up because you're late. Now you vex with them, you're quarreling with them, or you take it out of the vehicle, your foot down to the board.
And then road rage kicks in now.
Road rage kicks in. Somebody see you give a foolish or a different kind of a maneuver and they too get in road rage. Yeah. And we have a number of things happening. And the other thing that happened on our road, some of the minor accidents that we are seeing, they are caused by a number of factors. People become complacent. One, they stay down at the gadgets because we know in traffic it is slowed up, and so I have time to look down on my phone. And then you just step up and you realize the traffic moved ahead of you and you just step on the accelerator. Or sometimes you put your head down on that phone and without even realizing that the vehicle did not move, think that you stopped for a while and all it did was press on that accelerator and you bump right into somebody. We've seen quite a number of these accidents occurring just because people lost their concentration, their ability to stay focused on the road. Be conscious, ladies and gentlemen drivers, for this festive season. Stay conscious, stay vigilant. If you are a good driver, an accident may not necessarily depend on you. It will also depend on the other person who would give you what is called a bad drive.
Yes.
So you have to, as they would say, drive for yourself.
And that's where the defensive driving comes in. If everyone be a defensive driver, you know what will happen. It certainly would have a minimal, accidents occurring.
Yes.
Can you be in defensive, the other driver be in defensive? So which only means that the likelihood of an accident occurring will be minimized a whole lot.
Yes. And defensive drivers are the ones most of the time that ends up in most of the expense.
Yeah.
Because they save accidents.
They try to save.
I have a good friend of mine who had an accident very recently, saved somebody who gave a bad drive, run off the road, and that costs hundreds of dollars for repairs.
I think we have a call. I see someone is trying to get in on us. I'm not sure what they want to, of course, chime in on. Let's just entertain them for a wee bit before we take that break. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. The tips are very good and the program is good. It will help eliminate some of the problems on the road. Now, I believe strongly that we don't have a decrease in accidents. What is happening is remember, the roads are the same size. We have much more vehicles on the road. Now, what I believe is happening is that people are settling with one another when there's an accident. So the police is not called, but there was an accident. So that has to be taken into consideration. The second thing, somebody reversed on me on the lane some months ago. And the person said, "Oh, don't call the police, don't call the police. I'm going to settle with you." And they did settle. But that accident was not reported to the police. So there's no decrease in accidents. What is actually happening, accidents are not being reported because people are settling. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, caller. Important point there.
Yeah, it's important.
And relevant point.
I don't even know that even the other part that there isn't a decrease is also, there isn't a decrease is correct. Because if the police...
But maybe there's a decrease in recorded accidents. Maybe that's what the direction he's going.
But if the police is saying that there is a decrease generally in accidents, we do not deny that there are accidents that are not reported.
Yes.
But the fact is, the police have to report on the statistics that they have before them. But in general, there are people who do that because they don't want the inconvenience of having to go to court or otherwise. But as it is, the police must report on the statistics that they have before them.
All right. We do for a break. When we come back, we still have loads more to talk about. Let me certainly come back after the break. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back shortly.
Records at the traffic department shows that a total of 1,447 accidents were reported for the year 2012, which includes 3 road fatalities. 2,946 accidents were reported for the year 2022, which includes 8 road fatalities. This is a significant increase of 104%. This is alarming. When a family tragically loses a loved one, does it matter whether by means of a gun or a motor vehicle? To avoid accidents, drivers and pedestrians alike must exercise extreme caution when using the road.
wait to see my granddaughter.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here, Classic Radio, GBN TV. With me this morning, Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. And we do have a caller now. Let's go to the caller and say good morning. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome.
Please check the number.
I guess that caller dropped out there for some reason or the other. Before we entertain another caller, let's continue on the trend of our conversation this morning for time's sake. Accidents occur, Mr. McIntyre. The do's and don'ts.
Yeah. So accidents will occur. People will get injured. And what we've seen, and we would like to remind people of that, there are some factors that, people must do. It is an offense not to report an accident.
Yeah.
Once any accident happen, it needs to be reported. The other thing that when accidents happen, the first responsibility by the driver or anyone who's in that vehicle is to look out for safety to life. When there's a response by a police or any other person, their response should be the first thing is their response to life. Whether or not anyone is seriously injured or otherwise, that they need to do some intervention. So it's not whether or not who was wrong or who was right. The human issue of safety or the human issue of injury or otherwise must be the foremost factor in a responder or a bystander. Anyone. And we want that. And this is one of the reasons why we're targeting bus drivers and conductors in our segment later on that we're going to speak about, and how we're going to give you some skills as to if an accident happens, somebody's injured, how to treat it. So we're going to take this other caller.
Let's take this caller.
And then we'll give some specific.
Guess we lost that caller. I guess the caller is a little impatient this morning for some reason or the other.
So there are a couple of accidents that will occur. If a vehicle...
Let's try this caller once again. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, GT, and morning to Mr. McIntyre. Yeah, some of the issues with the gentleman before is real. Now, we have more vehicles on the road when we have more new drivers. The road is not getting wider, and there's a lot of accidents. The same thing. A lot of people is not reporting accident. That comes because of the amount of vehicle on the road, and when the accident and they see what it is, and the other driver want to get where they want, and they come out, everyone starts wronging, and they make the decision right. The people pressure them to make the decision. There are other people that know the law and advise them, and then when they check on the insurance, maybe you have to pay how much, $2,000 first, or the half of the money before things settle. So and sometimes according to the accident, you may hold it up so long and you can drive your car for months without any delay because you need your transport. Then the issue with the truck. I was a truck driver for years. There's hardly any truck in Grenada that don't have any effect. But the truck drivers in Grenada are the best drivers than the small vehicle. Because if you can check, the amount of small vehicle accident compared to the truck drivers is very rare. You follow? So I think that is a plus. And Mr. McIntyre, a guy made an observation, and I'm trying to strengthen it every day. If you come in from Food Fair direction, they just do the work coming enter into the cemetery to Granans. Watch that area there well. Turning in to the cemetery, if they cut off a part of that sidewalk and bring it closer to where they build the wall, the traffic that going into the cemetery would not have to stop anymore and hold up the traffic. There's a lot of simple adjustment that we can make and save problems because the road is not getting wider. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning.
So what we're going to do through our Safety Foundation, we would invite people to submit things like these.
Yes.
And we would endeavor to be the voice that we can take it to government, take it to the transport board, take it to traffic department, so that they can look into it, because they wouldn't see all the issues, and people would not know who they need to talk to or who they need to call to get the issues aired. Right. So thank you, caller. These are some things that we definitely, because our intention is to make life easier for people and safer generally. Right. So as we were saying, when an accident occurs, people will get injuries, like you may have whiplash. You have things like lacerations that may occur. You may have things like contusions that may occur, and you may have fractures, you may have strains, you may have sprains that may occur in those accidents. There might be people who are trapped inside of those vehicles. There are people who will become unconscious or otherwise. There are people who might be traveling in those vehicles, and they may be epileptic, they may have respiratory problems, and they may need some conditions that need to help them to recover. It is important, as we established earlier, that our communities become more trained, more aware of first aid issues and first aid interventions, so that we can prevent things from really getting worse. We can preserve somebody's life, and we can, promote recovery within the shortest possible time. And this is one of the things I would want every road user. I am hoping that it becomes enshrined within principles, if not law, that people who are going to drive a public service vehicle, that they should carry a first aid certificate. We have to go those lines. If you're going to be conducted on a bus, you should carry a first aid certificate.
So that's what the associations and stuff should, of course, have these kind of courses offered to the drivers and conductors and so forth.
We're going to drive it, and once you do that, we can ensure that you're getting more people to have the skill, so that you're going to have at least one person in each family that would know some first aid skill. Drivers meet in an accident, they don't know what to do. Conductors are on buses, people fell out, they fall around there, and you have to look for somebody else. Now, if you are able to guarantee that some person has some level of first aid, that at least the conductor on the bus or the driver knows something. Even if he can't do it himself, he can tell somebody what to do. So over the next couple of days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, we're going to be starting with this hotel's bus terminus. We're going to.
You did mention that in our last program that you're going to be starting this. Of course, was it? You did mention the 12 days.
Yes, it was going to be 12 days of Christmas gift. But we probably wouldn't be able to get the 12 days. We might probably be able to get 12 times in. But as often as possible, this would not be just for the Christmas season. We're going to expand on this and do it as often as we really could. So it's not going to be a one-off. We will be in communities. We're going to be at bus terminuses, and we're going to try to get people that we know they have a number of persons that they are entrusted with, and they do not have formal access to training, to pay for courses, etc. Our foundation, the Ashley McIntyre Safety Foundation for Roads, we will bring first aid skill training to people where they are. Exactly. So at the bus terminuses, we said on Friday, on Wednesday, between the hour of 10 and 2 o'clock, we will be going to Sauterres.
Okay.
Between the hour of 2 and again 10 and 2 o'clock, we'll be at the Grenville. And on Friday, which is one of the bigger days and more days going, we are likely to do the bus terminus in St. George. We're going to come back to the media house, we're going to send the information around, and we're going to let people know exactly where we are at the time. It's going to be for an hour or two, and it depends on the demand, how people are receptive. We want to do it in the point when there's a lull in the movements of commuter on the road, so that the owners or the drivers of the buses and the conductors, we can give them an opportunity to see it. How you use something that is just available. If somebody gets a cut in an accident, you don't need to necessarily have those bandages from a pharmacy to do it. We're going to teach you how to use just a piece of cloth, a piece of t-shirt or otherwise, to band and prevent people from losing excessive blood and so forth. Or you can use the same piece of cloth to make an elevation sling or otherwise, or arm sling, that somebody can go along with. How you can use pieces of stick or even the clothes that the people have to make a stretcher to move people from point A to Z. If somebody is epileptic and they collapse, we want to be able to teach them that you don't leave them lying flat on their face, on their bellies, or on their back, but you're going to put them in a recovery position, and there's a position that we want to teach people how to do that. If somebody gets unconscious, they seem to be not breathing or so, we're going to teach people how to assess their own breathing, and if they need to be resuscitated, we're going to teach them how to do chest compression so you can help some people to recover. We want to make this situation where people tend to be apprehensive, like you said earlier on. If somebody meet in an accident, somebody collapse, Please don't touch this person and don't get close to them.
Don't do that.
Move away. And there's nobody saying do this or do that. They will tell you a lot of don't do's, but they're not saying what you should do. We want more people being able to say what to do or do what should be done, rather than people saying don't do at all. So that's the focus on it. So if somebody gets an injury where they're bleeding, the first and foremost thing is to reduce the amount of blood loss by covering that wound.
Yes.
That's fundamental. If somebody has a breathing problem, whether they're asthmatic, whether they're epileptic, or they may be having seizures or otherwise, one of the things you want to do is to ensure that the breathing situation around them is freed up. They're not clustered by people and things, so you ask people to clear around so they can breathe freely. And if they have, well, obviously most people have clothes on them that might be buttoned, they may have tie, belts, socks, tight shoes, and these things, girdles, etc. You want to be able to free these things up so that these people can breathe a little freer until expert help arrive, or you can get them to the hospital or otherwise. If persons have to be transported, too often people are just scooped up, thrown into a vehicle anyhow, and try to be taken to a hospital or a medical station. We want people to become more skilled in lifting somebody so that you do not exacerbate or make the injury worse. So that there's a proper way that we want to be able to demonstrate that you can hold on to these people, get them into a transport. And if there's a serious accident where you think there might be fractures, there might be some strain or there might be sprain. And in particular, the most critical, when we speak about whiplash, you're thinking about the neck from the spine all the way down to the base of the back, right down to the hip and so forth, where you may suspect that person may have spinal injury. Whenever there is such an accident where somebody is crunched on the inside, they may have, joking pain, pricking pains and otherwise, or they may have numbness in some areas. You can suspect safely that person may have a spinal injury. Once the situation like this, you do not want to scoop people up or put them on a piece of cloth or a blanket or otherwise to go with them, or put them in something that is soft. You want to get something that is sturdy, like a piece of board, a table, or something that is flat, and you can support from the base of the neck or from the head or the back all the way down to at least the waist.
Yes.
You want to keep that structure together. Ideally, you want to keep the body flat in one unit, limited or no movement at all, so that you'll have less friction and less chance that the person is going to clinch the spinal cord. If we are able to do that, less people will become vegetable, and more people have more mobility after they may have met in an accident. And we want to be able to correct that. So these are some of the skill sets that we're going through. So if you're driving along and somebody has difficulty in breathing, ensure that they have an open airway. If somebody is bleeding, you want to ensure that you restrict them from bleeding so profusely or otherwise. If somebody may have a fracture or otherwise, you want to ensure that you're not trying to pull the foot or the hand and straighten it back in place.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is what we call a splint. You would band it up, wrap it up with something firm so that there is limited or no movement at all until that person gets to a hospital. In essence, that's an entire emergency first aid response course that you need to, because what you want to do is to look out for the things that will affect life. Yes. If somebody is bleeding, sooner or later they're going to go into shock and they will die. If somebody has restricted airway or otherwise, they will lose the oxygen that they need and they will die. And if somebody have a fracture, a strain and sprain, it means that you're likely to have internal injuries, you may have internal bleeding, and the person is likely to go into a state of shock and is likely to die. So these conditions, and the other one, if you move somebody too quickly, inappropriately, or otherwise, they can also die, or the injury can become worse. So the initiative of bringing that skill to people, this is what we call a Christmas safety skill gift to Grenada.
Yes.
That's what we want to be able to do. So at this time, bus drivers or other drivers, conductors, or any person that's available at the bus terminus or other places where people assemble, we're going to do as much as we could within that space of time to demonstrate. If we are able to save one life, we are able to save a couple or one limb from getting worse, our life here on our mission would have worth it.
Yes, sir.
And so we can do that. And once we pass the skill on to a couple of people, then you can guarantee it's going to go on.
Because they will also have the option of showing somebody else.
Yeah. So as we speak, there are a group of young persons from college that we are training to do first response at the TAMCC if there's a situation. Some of them are likely to be out helping us. The Youth Emergency Action Committee, that's the YAC people who have been trained, some of them have trained before, they will come out to help with us. And people from the Red Cross and John Ambulance and other persons who are involved in first aid, they are very likely to join the wagon. And other persons like retired nurses and these persons whom we are going to be making the appeal to. This is going to become a caravan of help across Grenada, where we'll be going through places and just helping people to develop that skill that if there is an emergency, somebody's trapped, somebody falls, there's an accident, otherwise you are able to give some basic help, at least, even if it's to make a call and explain to a doctor or health center what has happened. This is what has
occurred. You can bring. And I certainly hope when you go to those different bus terminals and so forth, the bus drivers, the conductors, they of course be part of the initiative. Because it certainly will help them a whole lot. You understand? Because they know lots of times the accidents occur and the driver and conductor they probably has no knowledge at all.
Yes.
How to offer the assistance. You understand? And they're getting it absolutely free.
Yes, absolutely. This is why we have them as
it's called a Christmas gift.
Yes, it's
absolutely free.
Maybe other times if you want to expand, you might be paying for first aid certified courses, and that is something that we would encourage, and that we offer that as well. But getting paid for this is not what it's about. It's ensuring that we are able to prevent loss of life or otherwise prevent injuries from becoming worse by giving people that basic skill that they need.
And the initiative certainly will be welcomed. I think the initiative will be welcomed, of course, not even just for the regular bus driver conductor, but there are individuals who could be standing by and looking on.
Of course.
And they would certainly like to learn, and I'm sure they would like to participate in some way or the other.
You're going to get the feedback. GBN definitely going to be part of it. Maybe your cameras may come out sometime and see some of these initiatives that people may not see that what we're doing, but that even people see it, they would learn from it. And that's the whole essence, that even if we do it and it's captured somewhere, I know people like to do things and take pictures and send it around. We don't mind this at all, because once you send it around, we know that this is the correct thing.
Well, the added publicity is also be welcome.
Yes,
the added publicity.
That people should understand that we want to make Grenada a safer place. We want to be contributors to this process. I think that's part of my mission, our mission, to be able to help people, and that we want to be able to fulfill.
Mr. McIntyre, I understand, this particular initiative was sprung on by the death of your son, God rest his soul, but it's something that's been embedded in you for a long time. The opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes certain situations sprung that positivity, or sprung other initiatives, and by the death of your son, that has sprung you to wanting to do this even more than you've been doing it before.
Yes.
It's not a first time thing for you doing it, but it has just raised the whole momentum for you to go on out and offer that sort of assistance, and I for sure I know it will be welcome a whole lot.
Yes, and we hope that Grenadians would appreciate the initiative. You lend your support to that in any way that you really could. I am not looking for anything personally out of it, except that you just show some level of appreciation by saying thank you.
And it's an opportunity to share your knowledge also.
Even if they didn't say thanks, and I know it's something good, it will not deter me, because it's a mission that's embedded within that has to be fulfilled. And God forbid, how many years from now I'm not able to do this, that legacy will go on, that skill set thing will go
someone will say I have picked it up from Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, because I've met quite a number of situations where I met people. A young man, only a couple of days ago, I met him and he said, I did something, and somebody said, where did you learn that? And he said, he kept quiet for a while. And he said he learned that skill from Mr. McIntyre. And I remember a story of a young man, I'm not sure if I said this on the airwaves before, but there were a group of youngsters who were at a camp a couple of years, around 7 years, and I went and I gave them some training in CPR.
Yes.
And there was this one of his relatives that went down. One was missing, one was brought on the shore, and he remembered that he needed to have done chest compression and rescue breath. and he learned that skill as a youngster. He said it just came back to him. Yeah. He rendered those skills, did chest compression, did rescue breath, and today the young man is alive.
I was able to save that individual's life.
And we have a number of people who testify that little skill, they did not keep an entire course. And what I wish to reiterate, that you do not need to have a first aid certificate, a first responder certificate, an EMT, emergency medical technician certificate or otherwise, to be able to render first aid assistance to anybody. You just need to understand that people need blood, they need gas, oxygen, and so forth to stay alive, and they need their limbs to be able to function. If you are able to prevent them from losing more blood than is necessary, you will save their life. Right. If you are able to get them to breathe and to get in sufficient oxygen and have an exchange of air, you will preserve their life. And you know, if you are able to do something to prevent the limb from going totally apart, that you are going to save their limb, you're going to aid mobility, and these people will be able to contribute to society. Right. If we have less people being sick, more people will be able to get around easy and do things and stay healthy, our economy will be better.
I agree. Mr. McIntyre, of course, your son's, of course, the particular, of course, foundation is in your son's names. What are some of the plans for 2024? If you could sprung out any that you probably have in mind, that you're thinking these are the initiatives that we're going to be kicking in from January, or maybe going through the course of the year next year that you're thinking you really want to get it moving. What are some of those initiatives that you have in mind?
Yes. So there is activity planned for the 13th of January, which is his birthday.
Okay.
And there is also something planned for the 6th of March, which is the day that he died.
Okay.
What we would want is that there is something significant on road safety be nationally recognized in his name, basically, so that Grenada could be safer. And part of the initiative, as we are established to do, would be to complement the information platform with the police, going to schools and so on, giving lectures to youngsters in terms of road safety. We believe that the youngsters, and we know the youngsters today, they are born with certain abilities that we marvel how quickly they get it. So we want to start with the schools and the young kids in understanding the concept of road safety before they even start to drive.
Okay.
So the education process is one of those that we're going to embark on. We plan to provide some safety paraphernalia and so forth, and things like vests and other things that people can wear for joggers and other people, that it will aid in their safety as they move along streets. We will want to be able to advocate very strongly for increase in penalties and other things for people who violate the laws, and we're going to emphasize strong enforcement measures of the laws that are in existence.
Okay.
Our board has medical doctors, we do have lawyers, we do have regular community persons, psychologists and counselors, including we do have police officers who are also part of the foundation. And I can tell you, the start is seemingly slow because we wanted to get all our instruments and things together, including our registration process and all our board members. We had somebody who traveled and were not able to get all the documents signed in before the final certificate is released. These we are going to be doing, but in 2024, we would see a strong advocacy for safety on our roads, including a national campaign with vehicle owners and users to do. I do not necessarily think in terms of like street marches and demonstrations kind of activity, but there's likely that we'll have a Sylvan motorcade on national recognition on a date that we hope that will be recognized, and when it comes around, it will be a national day of road safety for Grenada. That's a big thing.
All right. So McIntyre, thank you once again. We are at that time of the morning when we have to wrap up. It's our final program for the year.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for coming on from time to time. We know we had a kind of preempt year this year for some of the last few weeks, I would say. But, we did get a lot of information out, and certainly in 2024, we certainly be with. So once the Almighty permits us health, strength, and everything else in between, we will come back and offer more information in depth that we could share with our listeners and viewers in terms of just mitigating risks and emergencies in whatever way we can.
Yes.
Thank you once again.
Happy. I think I am living a fulfilled period that I'm able to share with our nation. So thank you.
Thank you. Everyone. All right, folks, that's where we take a wrap for today's program. Thanks to all who contributed some way or the other. Thank you so much for being part of To The Point for today. Join me again tomorrow for another edition. Have yourself a good one. That's where I say goodbye.